Today we have Guadalupe Reyes. She's going to be discussing the GOP Politics and Moms for Liberty. But before we get to Ms. Reyes, Ms. Phillips.
Well, I just want to say and give a shout out to Semper Fi Heating and Cooling. They are a sponsor of our show, and their contact information is callsemperfi.com. Callsemperfi.com. Their number is 725-246-1691. So thank you for advertising with us and sponsoring our show. If you are a candidate, if you have a business, if you have a nonprofit, anything you want to advertise and you have a sign like this, a yard sign, give us a call and talk to us about that. Also, grab your book that Steve wrote, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. There's a lot of people that cannot afford attorneys and don't have an attorney. This is a self-help book. This will help you navigate that system. It's on Amazon. You can get a copy. It's $14.99. And that would be great if you picked up your copy. He'll even autograph it for you.
For an extra $5.
No, for free. Also, we have our merch store, VIPImerch.com. Check us out there. We've got tons of products on there. Hats, coffee cups, travel mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, everything. So take a look at that, VIPImerch.com. And we are going to be putting tickets on sale, early bird tickets on sale pretty soon for the Valentine's Ball, which is February 7th of 2026. We're planning that. We have found our location and we're getting that together. So we're excited about that.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fun. Suncoast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we are headed up to Carson City. The GOP Central Committee meeting, the annual meeting is on Saturday. So whoever's going up there, we will see you up there.
Yeah, and I'm going to be in front of the Supreme Court. We're going to be in front of the Supreme Court.
We are going to be, and we're going to be at the legislature Friday.
We're going to be on the floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun. And yeah, the Supreme Court will, maybe I'll rant about that stuff in the next show.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Miss Guadalupe Reyes today. Miss Reyes, hi,
yes.
How are you doing?
Good, I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Could you give us a little bio about you? Don't leave anything out because I got everything right.
Oh my God.
The short bio, the long bio. Either or. Short bio would be moved out here about 10 years ago. With my family, we liked being out here because no state income tax. Fast forward 10 years later, been grounded here, built my business here, raised my son here.
What type of business?
Real estate.
Okay.
So I'm also in real estate. And so I've made Nevada home. And with that being, I became very active in the Republican Party because of my son and COVID. And this is how I ended up being in politics. So that's the gist of it. That's the short version.
What about your son made you involved in politics?
Well, basically his future. It was during COVID. So again, with COVID, my son was in public school.
Okay.
And we made the choice as a family to pull him out of public school because we did not want him to, with the vaccinations and with the mask, of course. And my son likes to say school is a prison. So he's very, very vocal about how he feels.
When I was in South Bronx, those schools.
So for him, wearing the mask was even worse. It was like torture for him.
Metal detector, right? Cops patrolling, fights all the time.
Perspective. But so basically that was made me make the decision, pull him out of school. Let's see how it works for us. And you know what? It worked for us. It really, really did work for us. I mostly have a very flexible schedule. So I was able to stay home with him, homeschool him. His father works from home. And then the schedule just worked for us because I didn't have to pick him up every day from school. Didn't have to buy school clothes, didn't have to buy school lunch. And so I'm like, okay, this works,
No traffic jams.
No traffic. He goes from his room there. That's it.
That's a lot of traffic.
No mask, no vaccine.
Basically, so. But we incorporate other things. But ultimately, it works for us. So that's why I made the decision.
Okay. So you also ran for Assembly, District 41. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I actually ran for Assembly District 41 twice. So
Didn't learn your lesson first time?
I know, right? I know. I'm crazy. That's what they
you
say.
get hooked
crazy
after
to be
the
in
first
politics.
time.
That's what they say, and it's true.
It's addicting.
It is. So the first time I ran for Assembly District is because I really wanted to get to know the process, to know how it worked. That was my main reason. And then the second time was because I really became an activist in my community and I wanted to see changes. So I'm like, okay, let me run again. Let me build up my volunteer network, build up my community and see how this works for me, see how far I can go. So that was what made me make the decision the second time.
And you were a parental rights advocate?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Vice chair of the Clark County chapter of Moms for Liberty.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how did you get involved in that?
Well, when I was campaigning for Assembly District 41, I made education a priority of mine because of my son. And during that time, that culture during that time, they were pushing DEI, restorative justice, and just not focusing on the children and their education. So I made that specifically part of my platform, parental rights, so that us as parents can choose whether to go to private, public, or homeschooling. So that became my focus. And as soon as Moms for Liberty, that's what their mission is, because they do not co-parent with the government. That is their mission, to fight for children we fight for children on their behalf in Carson City. So with that, there was an opening in Moms for Liberty, because there was a moving. So Chris was our
Chris who?
Christiane Murch. She was our president, our chair, and she moved on to other things, working for First Choice Pregnancy. And so she appointed Yadasa Jones as our chairwoman, which she has done a fantastic job. And she appointed me to be her vice chair. So that's how we started working together and building up Moms for Liberty.
How come you didn't run for school board?
Because when I ran 2 years ago, the first time, the position wasn't open in my district. I actually technically was, but it wasn't open in my district. So I was like, oh, let me shoot for Assembly first and see how that goes. And then the bug of the Assembly District just bit me. So I just kept going with the Assembly District.
What do you say about those folks that say Moms for Liberty is some type of extremist group?
Yeah, we get that a lot, actually.
Why do you get that?
I would say it's because...
Beat people up?
Right. It's the media. Of course, it's the media. They like to say that, we ban books, we burn books. We do none of that. What we do is we read the books and we let parents know what their children are reading in the school district. A lot of parents don't know that these books that are in the reading list have porn in them. So we read the books for them and let them know.
People still don't believe that.
They still don't believe, which is why we take the books with us. We actually take the books with us tabling, and we mark for each sentences and each, I would say, vulgar sentences. And we let the parents, this is what is happening. And they're like, wow, we didn't know that.
You can't even stand in front of a school board meeting and read this in public, because they you turn off your microphones and tell you can't talk about that stuff. And
correct.
It's horrific.
They say it's vulgar. We don't want you using vulgar language, but yet our children are reading vulgar and they're reading this stuff and it's insane to me. For my own son, I wouldn't want my son to go into a library, check out these books without my authorization, without me knowing. That's what blows my mind most of all.
Well, the sex education curriculum, they have perverted so much, and it is so graphic.
Yes.
And that's another thing that Moms for Liberty, that's why they call you extremists, because you are against that stuff and you're standing up for the right things. Right.
We are against it. And right now we have a bill in Carson City that Senator Buck is helping us with. And that's the library transparency bill, we call it. Because right now us as parents are not able to access or see what our children are checking out of the library. And actually the rest of Nevada, they are able to look in to see what their children are. It's just here in Clark County that we don't have access to the portal. So we're just asking for the same consideration as the rest of Nevada, is let us as parents be able to see what our children are checking out. Let us see whether or not it's appropriate for our children, not the government.
Doesn't that sound terrible? Let us as parents. That is disgusting to me.
Right.
That is how you know that the government has trained us. They have taken over and they have overstepped their bounds, for sure.
And they will keep chopping up at it as long as we don't say anything about it. And that's what's so great about Moms for Liberty, because we're not afraid to go and say those things. We're not afraid to go to Carson City and be like, this is wrong. This is against our children. And the people who have negative things to say about Moms for Liberty are the ones pushing all this DEI and all this porn in the books. So for us to be labeled as extremists, it's like, of course it's a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like that whole saying, good publicity is, or bad publicity is good publicity, because it lets people know that we're out there and we're doing things on behalf of the children.
Wear it as a badge of honor.
Exactly.
Because most people won't stand up, they won't say anything, they won't fight back. And they just, a lot of people don't know what to do.
Exactly.
And they're not involved. So I'm glad that your organization is around to defend the kids.
Yeah, definitely. We do it all the time. We're tabling, we have legislation out, we're working with teachers. So we're really trying to build up the Moms for Liberty name and trying to get rid of the whole negative things that people put to it as well.
Is there a particular subject matter that you guys push?
Just that we don't co-parent with the government. I would say that that's our main thing, is that we do not co-parent with the government. Because
I have here that you guys really push the math as part of your platform.
That's actually something that we've, it's recently new. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we are trying to get rid of the negative connotation that Moms for Liberty has. So part of that is branding ourselves with local communities, local organizations, and one of them is Mathnesium. Mm-hmm. Mathnesium is also, it's a great math program. It takes in students, tutor students.
I've never heard of that terminology before, by the way.
What, Mathnesium? Yeah. That's actually the name of the business, is Mathnesium. Okay. And what they do is they tutor kids. Mm-hmm. So if your child is horrible at math, or if your child exceeds at math, they do all of that. So they help your child, and then they help them with advance as well. So it's a great opportunity to get kids involved in math and make math fun. That's another thing as well, because, our math skills, we need those in the future. Future doctors, future lawyers, math skills are very, very important. And even me growing up, I hated math because math wasn't fun. And so this opportunity came to partner with Mathnesium, and we were like, yes, we should do it. Not only because Mathnesium has 9 locations all throughout Nevada as well. So Summerlin, Henderson, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas. And so we can reach the communities in those areas as well and bring math to them.
Well, math, it got even worse when they brought this Common Core nonsense.
Yes.
And trying to teach that. And I'm just thankful my kids went to private school and we were able to provide that for them. They didn't have to do any of that Common Core. But what I have seen of that, it's just an absolute disaster, confuses the kids. And I don't even know who came up with that, but shame on them.
Well, we're 49th in education. And so we have to look at that. If CCSD isn't going to help, then us as parents have to figure out what else to do for our kids. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's great about Mathnesium too, is that we can go there because our children are having problems with the curriculum and be like, help us, help us understand this. Mm-hmm. So that's, another great reason for having Mathnesium.
Speaking of kids, I just read this today that a judge has ruled now that doctors have to notify parents if their child goes in to have an abortion. Did you read that today?
I'm not up in the legislature, but wow, I didn't. Yeah. There's so many things
that should be like
that should
common sense.
Yes,
that should never have been a law that a kid can go in and get an abortion without notifying the parents.
Like going to the restroom, you wash your hands.
Even if you don't have daughters, as taxpayers, that should be alarming to us, that's what our tax dollars are going to.
It's very alarming. But anyway, so thank you, Judge, whoever that judge was. I don't remember his name, but anyway.
What is Moms for Liberty position on the LGBTQ community?
Well, I would say that we're mostly a nonpartisan group, and I would say we love children. Our whole thing is about children, so that's not our focus. It's mostly our focus on the children's education and letting parents navigate the issues and things with their family on their own.
But you guys do support keeping biological boys out of girls' restrooms, locker rooms, that kind of thing. So I think that's kind of where the rub is and where you guys kind of get called names when it comes to that subject. The other side automatically assumes, you hate us because you don't want a boy in your daughter's locker room or sport program or, and that's just, it's not the case. It's just a, simple science and biology that a biological boy is stronger and is going to hurt a girl.
Correct. And that is our stance for Moms for Liberty as well. It is a safety issue, not so much biological, but the biological is what makes it a safety issue. That they are faster, stronger than women. And it does become a safety issue when they're competing in sports against each other. And the fact that it's just simply not fair. We all know that it's not the same, men and women, especially in competing. And for us to sit there and say that it is fair is also not telling the truth to our children. And I think that we need as parents is tell our children the truth. So that's a main thing as well, that we just want to protect the kids or protect the women in sports, that we're not against what they do in their private lives. It's just about the safety of our women and daughters.
And they have plenty of neutral bathrooms that they have put into these schools everywhere across the country. So I don't understand why that issue is forced to where, these boys go into the girls' locker rooms when they can have a neutral dressing room just as easy as they have a neutral bathroom. And, everyone does their thing.
No, and I'm actually so I actually had an experience with a transgendered bathroom. And for me as an adult woman, I would found it quite uncomfortable. So I can just imagine how young girls would be changing into their uniforms in front of a male. I went into a restroom, a very popular restaurant. I went into the restroom and I had noticed that it was a transgendered restroom. So I went inside and I just happened to be the only woman in this neutral restroom, of course.
Come on in, Guadalupe.
Right. So there's a male at the sink and there was two males in the stalls because I can see the shoes, So I'm standing there waiting for my turn. And one male is still there, and one of the male comes out and just stands right in front of me. He's 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, and here I am, 90-pound woman. And I'm like, I felt so uncomfortable. And I was just like, wow, if I had a daughter, I would not allow her to use the restroom by herself. It feels very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm thinking the worst as a woman. It could take anything for someone to push me in a stall, and then that's it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I think about as being a woman. And I don't know if the other side thinks about that or if they just don't care. Because
no, they're more worried about their rights and, this rather than safety of women and girls and things like that.
And I do think it has to do with the bigger picture of all this too, as well. So I think it starts with that. And then I think it has to do something with the pharmaceutical company too. That's honestly what I think. I think that they've kind of like let go of the whole abortion thing. And now they're on with the whole transgenderism, because then they can get you to use the money to figure out if you're transgendered, and then they can get you on the pills, and then you're set for life. And I think that's the bigger picture of trying to turn our children into transgenders. I know I'm going to get a lot of stuff for that, but
So part of the show is about the GOP. What's your position on the Republican Party here in the state of Nevada?
I think the Republican Party, as far as the GOP, did exactly their job. They got President Trump elected. And, President Trump is very happy. As far as the CCRP, that's a separate issue. That is our local candidates and our local issues that we have here that I do think we need to fix. But as far as like the GOP, President Trump seems very happy with the leadership here and getting him elected. So
he's happy, and Stephen Horsford is happy, and Susie Lee is ecstatic, and Jackie
Rosen's very happy,
right?
Dina Titus is,
which is why we need to get more local candidates.
Those seats never change,
right?
For some reason.
Yeah, that is true.
What do you think that is?
I think it has to do more with our local CCRP. We need to get that a strong organization so we can make it like a farm and push out really good candidates to be able to go up against and be able to win. We need to get more Republicans elected. And I think it has to do with the grassroots level and just build it up.
And in the legislature, I think Republicans only captured one.
We picked up one seat.
Woohoo!
One seat. We need 8.
Pat yourself on the back, baby.
Yes. Right?
More victory parties.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by that's where the problem is locally, because CCRP's job is to get Republicans elected locally. And there's no results. If it was a business and we set it to okay, let's look at the results of this business, we would have failed a long time ago.
Are you thinking about going on the executive board or
I'm
running
running
for
as
vice
political
chair
director.
or chair or
Political director of the CCRP.
oh, you're running for political director.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I think that nothing personal at all with the current leadership. It's just we need to produce results. One seat is not results. We needed to pick up 3. I mean, we need to pick up 8. One is we're lucky.
Right.
To be able to say that we were able to accomplish anything, we had to at least get 3 seats, 3 out of the 8. Then we would have been like, okay, we tried, this is how much we got. But our results don't show anything. And so I have a plan to set that into motion, to get candidates elected, voter registration up, have a candidate recruitment program, things like that. That's what my plan incorporates.
But, you know, they might come back and say, well, you know, we did get one county commission seat that's been Democrat for years and years and years and years.
Right.
And was it 2 school board seats or was it? Is there
2 school board. Yep.
2 school board seats. So.
School board, yes, which is actually that's actually the most important ones that we got were school board meetings. Did the CCRP help? I would say no. They got those gains on their own. Lydia, Lorena, Rebecca, they all had those gains on their own. I wouldn't give any credit to the CCRP for that.
There is not one candidate, and I talked to a bunch and I helped a bunch and I was at a lot of events. Not one of them told me that they were getting help from CCRP.
I was a candidate myself twice, and I got no help from the CCRP. We are allowed.
What do you think that is?
Well, they let us use the CCR space, which they say that that's help. To be able to use that event in the space, which, you know, it is help, but that's not exactly what it's going to take to win the candidacy. What it takes to win the candidacy is needing resources, needing help with your website, needing help with getting signs, needing help with volunteers to door knock.
They might say that's what a campaign manager is for.
Well, we're not asking them to provide it for us. We're just asking us to give us a path. We're just looking for a path.
Right.
How about campaign sidekick? Did that work for you?
Did not work at all because the voter rolls are not cleaned up as well. So it's just you get campaign sidekick, you go to one door and there's 20 people that live there. That's the problem with campaign sidekick.
That's 20 votes right there.
But then exactly. And then like those people, but what I'm saying, that 20 people that live there over the past 10 years. So they don't technically still live there. So,
gotcha.
So you're getting like 20 years history, yeah, exactly, of people there who don't technically live there. So you don't know who's the current person living there because you have so many names. Okay. So that's one of the major problems with campaign sidekick. And there's just so many like tech issues with it as well. So,
and no one's willing to help you. No one calls back. No one's really there.
You know what? I've never tried. Well, no, that's not true. I have tried to reach out and have them help me. And there's no follow through. I would say that. There's no follow through and there's no follow up.
Who's the political director now?
Heather Florian.
Oh, okay.
The 2 times you ran for assembly, did the party reach out to you and do a fundraiser for you or donate to your campaign or invite you to an event so you could speak, try to get your name out there or come in your district and try to help you out or do some door knocking for you or anything like that?
None of the above. The only thing
didn't exist then, huh?
CCRP helped me with was I actually went to the CCRP and I was like, I want to put on events with the CCRP because I noticed that there was no engagement going on in the community. So I asked Heather and Jesse, do you mind if I put events here? I think I started in June. So I did June, July, August, September, October. I did like 4 or 5 events. And
were we invited?
Everyone was invited. It was all over social media. This was like last year.
Did you get something?
Wait, it was probably on social media.
So I
Did you
started.
Get a personal phone call from Guadalupe?
No, she was busy.
Well, I had my team reach out. And so I started those events to give myself name in the community because I was going to run and to bring notoriety to the CCRP as well because we had no engagement whatsoever.
Right.
So they did help me with the space, but that's it. I had to get my own volunteers, own food, bring everything. So there is a lack of just taking initiative, of just anybody doing anything because there is no help as far as leadership. Like what you said, there's no invitation. There's no, here we're going to set this thing up for new candidates, come meet and greet our new candidates. Things that CCRP should put up, they do not do. And those are just simple things.
You know, I always tell the leadership they need to pay attention to these small races because these people that win these smaller seats, like assembly, school board, they run for bigger seats. I mean, look at Stephen Horsford, for example. He started out as in the state senate, and now he's a congressman. You know, so I always tell people they need to pay attention to these things. Look at John Lee. He was assembly, state senate, and became mayor of North Las Vegas. So they got to pay attention to, and these seats are, I mean, the assembly is who makes these laws for us.
The local, correct.
I mean, you need to pay attention to people that make laws, you know. Are you planning on doing it again?
Are you talking about running? Haven't made a quite decision right now. I can say no, but it can always change.
What would change your mind?
Depends, I would say. I'm still building up my team.
The Moms for Liberty.
No, my political team.
Oh,
yeah.
Got you.
And then I want to get I would say I want to have Moms for Liberty and all those organizations set before I decide to run because I don't want anything neglected. So I want to get those up and running as well. Okay. So, and then of course it has to do with money. So if I, decide to run, probably be after July. Okay. So, but I'm teetering just like everyone else. I'm addicted to it. So it's just like, So, but it's a possibility.
So the last CCRP meeting where we voted for a new secretary and a new treasurer, and we're getting ready to vote again in July. But I was told that you were receiving phone calls, possibly threatening phone calls, not very nice phone calls from people. Why were they targeting you? And will you talk about that?
She's 90 pounds. If she was 250, they'd probably leave her the hell alone.
I think the whole thing of just wanting to have something new as far as CCRP. Like I said, I am running for political director. And I think the fact that the current leadership, they're taking it personal. I see it, like I said before, like as a business. And I think it's not personal at all. I look at it as what is the best for the party. And everyone that I've talked to agrees that we need change. We need a choice. Right now, we've always had the same slate as CCRP, and we've had no choice.
Well, you can't be a leader if you can't handle
criticism.
Yeah, correct. So for me, this is just like giving it up to Republican Party, let them have a choice. We've had current leadership for a certain amount of years, and now we have fresh ideas, fresh people. Give us a chance. Let us see the results that we can produce. Yeah. And I just think that the other side just takes it way too personal, has nothing to do with personal attacks whatsoever. It's ultimately what is the best for the party. Exactly. And for getting more Republicans elected.
Not what's
which
best
should
for
be
you.
the mission, getting Republicans elected.
Basically, they have the mentality, what's best for them. Not
correct.
What's best for the party.
We've said that many times because we had, we've spoken out about leadership, the GOP, things that we think need to change. And we've always said it's not personal.
Yeah.
We have known these people for a long time, friends with them, and it's not personal, but I think it's hard for them to not take it personally because they see it as a criticism. But I don't understand why somebody would be calling you in a threatening tone, nature. I mean, why do that? What did they gain by doing that to you?
I don't think they're trying to gain anything. I think it's just a point of frustration. Like what you said, people don't like to be criticized. And it's just that's just it. People don't like to be criticized. And it puts people in certain positions. And like I said, I'm not here to say that they're bad leadership. I don't want to devise. And it's not about being divisive either. It's just about clearly what is best for the party.
Right.
And all this name calling and emails, text messaging back and forth, it just creates more of the divisiveness.
Wasted energy.
Wasted energy, exactly. And so, but that's what I say to it. I'm just like,
They should focus on making themselves better.
it's just pointless to try to divide us, you know, because we don't want to be seen as a weak party. We want to be seen as strong and united. And us fighting within each other isn't helping. It's just making us more and more divisive. So
I saw a text that you received, and it was something to the effect of, this is going to hurt your political future or something like that if you support, you know, people other than the ones that were there.
They can see in the future.
And right. And I just thought, you know, who are they to even say that to you?
Yeah,
you have your opinion. Everybody gets
of course,
their
it's
opinion.
politics, right? Everyone's always trying to intimidate each other. It is politics. And I just have to stay grounded with my values and my ethics. And I know that what I say and do is grounded with myself and my ethics. And that's
But these were men.
With. Correct?
Doing this to you. And this was one in sitting in leadership.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And and another candidate.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why these men would do that to you.
Maybe they felt like I had no backbone. Who knows? But
Probably wouldn't do it to another man.
They certainly wouldn't do it to me. I mean, I think they...
You're a different type of woman.
I'm a different... Yeah, exactly.
I think they were
wouldn't-
testing me to see if I had a backbone, to see how far they can get with me and test me. But I didn't feed into it. I didn't acknowledge it. And I think that says a lot about me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're scared of her because all of a sudden you hear, what was that?
That is
Right?
that is not true. That's not true.
Packing, right?
I just don't. I don't back down from these people, and you know, whoever wants to. You know, I'm very direct and say what I think, and you know,
clearly,
have
I'm
been
still here. I'm still running for political director, so they did not scare me away. If anything, they made me fight for that position more.
Exactly.
Mhm.
When people come after me, it makes me want to go more,
Right?
not less.
So, yeah. That's exactly what they did. They just ignited that fire more, fanned my flame.
Fan your flame.
I would like to see the party grow, and I'd like to see more community events, bringing in you know, different people, and just trying to get people involved. And I think there's so much. There's division, there's fighting, and you know, the bickering back and forth. And our membership has gone down. And I think with some fresh, we were talking about this last week, when you have term limits for these seats, you automatically have to turn those over every 2 terms. That way, somebody doesn't get in there and get too comfortable.
Correct.
And take that seat for granted and get ate up with themselves and power and things like that. But if that turned over every couple of years, then it would continue to be fresh, new ideas, new faces. And I think that would be good for the party. And I think that when there is a change in leadership this summer, that person needs to put term limits in place for this seat.
Yeah, that is something to definitely consider. Because like what you said, I mean, it's just time for new ideas, fresh faces, new strategies, and reinvigorate the Republican Party. There's no fire. There's nothing there. You know what I mean? There's no soul. And that's what we're trying to bring, is that whole activism and no money.
No money. They don't raise any money.
Right.
Yeah.
And with new people, with new ideas, we're pretty confident we can get bigger and better donors as well.
I always say, if you got to remind somebody that this is a volunteer position, it's time for you to go.
Exactly. Right. And I think that is the reason why it's been stagnant. Because
And why are you there if it's a volunteer
Yeah,
position?
and don't complain about it. You know, just
You shouldn't
get out.
complain. It's a volunteer position. Just adios.
You're right. And they've been there for so long, and I think they see it as work. that's what their work. They're going like it's a 9 to 5 job.
It's their identity.
Yeah, and it's
their
not.
identity.
Like a friend of mine told me it's supposed to be fun. We're not getting paid for this. It's fun. I love being a grassroots activist and getting involved in my community and seeing the results. Like it's supposed to be fun, and that's what we don't have right now in the Republican Party. So that's what we're all trying to create.
They need to bring young, energetic people into the party.
That's another thing too. We all, as far as like the current leadership and what we have, as myself as political director, especially, that's what I do want to bring is different organizations to come in, and I want to bring CCRP to UNLV. I have contacts, and they're like, yes, come. So after I table for Moms for Liberty, I'm going to bring in CCRP because we need those college kids. We need to bring them in and use it as a funnel. And that way we can get their parents to donate as well. If they see that we're helping them get credits in their college education as well. So definitely getting CCRP into UNLV, getting him into those communities where we don't usually see Republicans. Because that's another issue we have as Republicans is we only go into certain communities when it's election time. And that's a problem for us. And that's a really good thing that the Democrats do is they're consistent in these communities. And so who do they vote for? They vote Democrats because we don't have that trust in the communities built up with Republicans. And that's what I'm going to do as well, is bridge that gap in these communities by doing events, by micro-targeting.
A friend of mine, his name is Brent Pajunas. He used to be the chairman of the Libertarian Party. And I used to go to a lot of their events, and it's all young people, and they playing all kinds of young music, and it was like energetic.
Yeah.
And,
cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool. I know.
And people wanted to go there, and you couldn't get anybody to leave. They're like, oh, leave. And man, rum and coke is good. I'm staying here.
Exactly. Yeah, we need that young culture. We need the kids to see Republicans as being cool, and we can do that because we have Trump now. Trump's in office and he's creating that cool culture for us. We just need to embrace it and piggyback off of that locally.
Yeah. You ever been to one of those national Republican, the National Republican Convention? I went to one at the Horseshoe. It was one of the most boringest things I've ever seen. I'm just like trying to stay awake when I go to those things.
Yeah.
The first problem was the Horseshoe.
That's what I know, right?
Oh, the Horseshoe used to be Bally's. They changed it. Yeah, it was Bally's, and then they changed it to Horseshoe. They moved from downtown to
I knew it as Bally's too.
To Fremont and Las Vegas Boulevard. But yeah, it was one of the boringest things. I thought I was at a library. You got to spice it up.
You're like, where's the DJ?
Yeah, put the DJ in there.
What I want to know what happened to our first Fridays. Remember when we had those and we would go
Fremont?
No, the first Fridays with we had Ahern. Remember, first Friday of the month, the CCRP they would organize that and all that.
See, I didn't even know they had that.
Devin? You're watching. Type in the comments where it happened to First Friday at the Ahern. That's why we have the thing there. But anyway, we had the First Friday and people and it was fun and people networked
and things like that,
chatted, and we had the Christmas parties and
they got to do fun stuff. I mean, the Lincoln Day dinner is the same old. They need to come to our Veterans in Politics Valentine's Day ball and see how we do, because we change it all the time.
They only have one dinner. We need to have multiple fundraising.
You ever been to one of those Lincoln Day dinners?
I went to the last one.
Oh my God! Were you excited to be there?
I was excited to see Roger Stone. Yeah, I loved his speech. It was a great speech.
They need to have it more up.
Yeah,
popping.
We could do like a
food though.
Maybe a bowl-a-thon, or I don't know, a baseball game, or something where people get together
or anything like that. No,
because everybody just go there just to see who's around and then leave right after that.
Yeah. Anyways. As soon as Roger Stone spoke, everyone. Everyone was out.
Did the governor even stick around for Roger?
He took off. Sure. I'm actually not sure. I wasn't paying attention.
Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else for
the governor?
Ms. Reyes?
Well, I don't think so. It'll be interesting come July and all that.
Ms. Reyes, do you have anything that we didn't talk about that you want to get off your chest?
Get off my chest? No, this was actually a great program.
Thank you.
Felt very comfortable speaking. So
we don't bite.
No, it's fine.
So Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you have the final word. You can say whatever you want and give your point of contact if you want to give one, and blah, 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 blah.
I guess not much. I just say thank you guys for having me on the show. I am running for political director for the CCRP. So if you're watching and you're a Republican, please vote for Guadalupe Reyes, political director. I do have a plan to get more Republicans elected in 2026. So thank you very much for watching.
Well, Ms. Reyes, thank you for being on the program. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Guadalupe Reyes, and she was discussing about the GOP politics and Moms for Liberty. We hope that you guys learned something from Ms. Reyes, and we have 2 shows today, so we'll see you in about 15 minutes. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.